Alright guys, how's it going? Today is very likely what's going to be, unfortunately, probably the last time I get to drive my car for this season. That makes me sad. I'm always super jealous when I see all my buddies down in the States, all my other YouTube friends who are posting videos of driving their car, you know, in November, December, January, you know, some of you guys down in Texas and stuff like that. Man, I get super jealous. So I've had my car brand new since 2009. It's never seen the snow. I don't drive it in snow. Not saying that you can't drive these cars in snow, but being from Canada and being from one of Canada's northernmost major cities in Edmonton here, I've learned a few things growing up about what driving a vehicle in the winter does to it. It is really tough on vehicles, guys. Even just the salt and stuff like that gets caked up on the bottom of your car, like the undercarriage, and not only that you end up dragging from your shoes and boots into your vehicle, into the interior. That salt starts wearing away at the carpet. My main vehicle, other than the Challenger, is a 2012 Jeep Wrangler. Even that vehicle, after driving it all winter, I have to take my little Green Machine carpet cleaner and scrub the crap out of the interior, because where my shoe rests by the gas pedal and by the brakes, there's a bunch of like white chalky buildup there, which is all just salt that's just stuck to the carpet and is just eating away at it. Winter's tough on vehicles, guys, let alone trying to pilot a vehicle that has 400 pound-feet of torque to the rear wheels. I mean, traction control is a blessing in that case, but even still, I wouldn't want to lose control of my car. It's just, and also you don't really get to use the full potential of the car in the winter. Like, it's kind of slippery out, or it's snowy. I've got to be careful in summer hammering on the car. Like, especially before I put the drag radials on the back, you've got to be super careful in the summer, because if you get into it, you could be sideways in a hurry. You got to really watch what the back end's doing. In the winter, it's way worse than that, because you can be driving on a patch of road that's completely clear, it looks great, and then you get up over a hill and the wind has kind of blown adrift there, and all of a sudden you've got icy buildup on the other side of that hill. Maybe it's in the shade a little bit. If you're hammering it and you're fine coming over a hill, on the other side of that hill you might be sideways in less than a second. Just not worth it. Like I say, my car's 2009, and every time I crawl under it, like when I was doing my headers, even doing the cam swap and crawling around underneath the car, like the underside of my car looks absolutely pristine, like it came from the factory. So I'm doing something right. Now the downside of that, unfortunately, is that I don't get to drive my car for quite a few months, and man, I gotta tell you guys, it is definitely a bummer. It makes me sad parking it for sure, but at the same time, it does make me super excited when it's springtime and it's time to bring the car out. I can't describe the feeling of how much anticipation and how pumped you are for that snowfall to kind of finally be gone, and for them to clean the streets, get the salt off the streets, so that you can get your car out for the first run of the season. Man, that first drive in the season is amazing. It really is. So guys, I figured I'd get out really quick because it is cold out today. So far it is like -6 out right now, Celsius of course. Fairly chilly out today. It's gonna start snowing this weekend. I'm probably gonna park the car after this. I'll have to do some of my other videos with me working on the car in the garage, so the car's still gonna be in it, but I figured I'd get out here, go for one last really good drive, and then just talk about what we did to the car this season. Just kind of have a season recap how far we've come with the car this year. Because let me tell you, from the very start of this season to right now, this car is a completely different machine. Case in point. If I could get traction. It's another thing is when it gets cold out, man, it's easy to spin. Anyway, one thing about this year is I didn't really expect to go as far as I went with things. I kind of lucked out when Comp Cams introduced their kit, and I figured I would jump on it, and ended up getting a bunch of good advice and good help from a lot of Mopar friends and people on the forums and on YouTube. Just a little help with things I'm going to need, because like I say, I've never done a cam swap before. I've never done that kind of major surgery on a car before, let alone a modern Gen 3 Hemi. So it was a bit of an undertaking, a little bit nervous to do it at the start, but you know, tackling this project, I learned so much doing the cam in this car. It gives me a super appreciation for my 5.7 Hemi. Being able to dig into it like that, it's super interesting for me to be able to take the heads off, literally see everything about how the car runs up close and personal, see how the engine is designed. It's actually pretty cool. So there's the other thing. Performance. How do we change the performance this year? Well, we changed it a lot. And we're not done changing it. So one of the things I really did want, we're spinning a lot. Cold temperatures, man. Even with the drag radials, it makes it tough to hook up. So how do we change the performance this year of the car? Well, we added the cam, and I went and got it dyno tuned. So we ended up with 401.99. I guess I could probably call it 402, but you know, I like to be accurate. 402 horsepower and 403 pound-feet of torque is what we ended up with. So that's up for us. You know, I had 374 horsepower when I just did my headers. So we increased it a bit. Not quite as much as we wanted. You know, we increased it that 27 rear wheel horsepower. But we hit that flat spot, and I was hoping to be able to tear into that timing cover and put on a phase lock and get back to get it dynoed before the end of the season, get to the track and all that, but it just wasn't in the cards this year. I'm sorry, guys. Timing didn't work out. Sometimes you try to plan for it, but man, so scheduling and getting the work done did not happen. A good friend Carmen, who helps me out with major surgeries like that, helped me out with my cradle bushings, and obviously you guys saw in my install videos, was my hero in doing my cam with me. Carm ended up being really busy at the end too, for like a period of a couple weeks, so it just didn't quite work out with the last couple days at the track, which is unfortunate. Now, also about the track, if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that at the end of every year, I really like to try to make it out to Vancouver with my car. I've said it in multiple videos, but in case you're new to the channel or you've just started watching, Edmonton, where I'm from, the track we race at is Castro Raceway, and we're 2,300 feet above sea level here, which is fine. The drag facility is an amazing facility. It's an NHRA track. Lots of really big, heavy-hitting NHRA events come to the city, so it's a great track, great facility. The only downside is it is 2,300 feet above sea level. So unfortunately, even if I get an absolutely amazing fall day in Edmonton, where the DA is negative, I'm still probably going to be 1,500, feet above sea level. It's probably more than that. Usually it's probably be about like 2,000 to 2,800 feet above, 2,000 to 1,800 feet above sea level, which isn't great for times. I mean, it's fine here, like in the city, like compared to racing against other people in Edmonton on that day. But unfortunately, it doesn't make the best numbers to compare my car to all you guys racing all over the States, all over Canada. I like having good numbers just so that when we sit down and say my car ran this, you guys can see that and be like, okay, that's a reasonable time compared to what I ran, because a lot of the tracks are around sea level. So I like to make that trip to Vancouver, to Mission Raceway. Mission is just outside Vancouver, which is 12 hours away from me, but it's a beautiful drive through the mountains that I do absolutely love to make. It's not that big of a pain, and I got family and stuff over in Vancouver, so it's nice to visit them, make a trip out of it, and then hit up the track so I can get some really good numbers at sea level, kind of gauging where I'm at with the car performance-wise, so you guys can see where I'm at and say, okay, well, I can compare that to what I ran, and okay, he's running about this with his setup and what he's got, and it makes something decent to compare to. It's always nice to get out to Vancouver like I did last year and made that trip to Vancouver couple part video just to show you guys how I did with just headers. Got really close to 12s, but couldn't quite break into the 12s with just headers. I was super close. So this year, because of COVID, it's been a weird year. Mission Raceway by Vancouver there, they closed their track to street legal events. They only were running bracket racing, like league series, so the same few guys out every weekend to bracket race. That's the only event they were hosting. So for somebody like me who lives 12 hours away, there was no way that I could get over there and get to a test and tune or get to a street legal night and run the car and see what I did, around sea level with the new cam. Even for now, even before we fix our restriction that we have in the upper RPM, and so even at just 402 wheel horsepower, see what we do at sea level. I know I would be in the 12s at sea level, probably not very far in the 12s. I think, to be honest, that with my setup now, it would put me about 12.8, 12.7, 12.8, maybe something like that. But that was not an option because of COVID. So instead, we just did what I could and raced around Edmonton. So my best around Edmonton was a 12. God, I wish I had the 12s in Edmonton. My best that I did around Edmonton was a 13.2, which was really good. That is by far the fastest I've ever run at my home track. My previous fastest that I ran was a 13.5. So we dropped 0.3 of a second, which, I mean, we added 26 rear wheel horsepower, or 27 rear wheel horsepower. So, I mean, it kind of does add up around 0.3 of a second. To give you an idea, when I ran that, there was a stock, an almost stock 2011 Challenger RT. He had a 5-speed auto though, and he was running a Diablo can tune, a 91 tune, and he was running 14.3. He ran 14.4, and 14.3 was the best I saw him run in Edmonton. And he wasn't really lighting up the tires or going crazy. He was actually driving the car fairly well. So 14.3 is what he ran the same day that I was running my 13.2. So gives you a bit of an idea of how much quicker my car is than a stock RT right now. We've come a long way with it. The car is driving excellent right now. I'm, to be honest, I'm super happy with the car. It's funny because I'll get ads coming across my Facebook and stuff like that for a bunch of Challengers and stuff, because the algorithms, I mean, they know that I love my Dodges and I love my Challengers, and they'll fire, you know, a Scat Pack TA or a Scat Pack shaker or something like that, you know, from some of the dealerships will come through some of my news feeds on my social media, and you know, I'll look at it for a bit and be like, that's a beautiful car, love the Scat Packs, they're amazing, but to be honest, like, my car's right there. My car is so much fun to drive right now. It's it doesn't make me really want a Scat Pack very much, to be honest with you. I got a couple things I got to iron out of it, get rid of that restriction. We'll bump it up to about, for sure, 420 or so, 430 wheel horsepower, without changing much in our setup, just making a couple tweaks. Unfortunately, those tweaks involve putting a phase lock on and ripping my timing cover apart again. But, you know, this setup, I know I'm good for about 420 wheel horsepower, which, I mean, power-wise, that puts you right where you want to be honest. So, I'm really happy with where we've come with the car this year. It's been a really cool ride just to see where I've come from stock. Like I say, I've owned this car since 2009, so I had it stock for years and years and years. And it wasn't until, you know, 2 years ago that I even put the headers on. Man, she kicks hard. She really does drive hard. Especially that mid-range. Man, oh man. You take the car to 2,500, 2,200 in second gear or first gear, and it's like, the best way I can describe it, it is violent. Like, it's more exciting to me doing that than hammering it off the line right now. Off the line, it does bog a little bit, like, not bog, and my 60-foot times are the same that they were when I had my stock cam, so it's not really that much different, but I think just compared to how hard it pulls, once you hit the 2,200 to about $5,000 range, it pulls so hard. The only way I can describe it is violent. The car violently shoots forward, like fuck, I keep losing traction, but it snaps your head back and it puts you in the seat really hard. That is definitely the sweet spot of the RPM range, where the power just really kicks on, but man, oh man, is that fun. Which makes me think that, to be honest, even though, hey man, I know that Challengers are big heavy boats, and not the most amazing handling cars ever. They handle well, but they're not Miatas or anything like that. Still handle really well though. I still think it would be super fun to take it to a track, have like a actual like road course track day with the car, just because right now where that power kicks in, man, coming out of a turn. In fact, there's not very many turns in Edmonton, guys. It's we're in the prairies, so a lot of long straight stretches of road with not a lot. We have mountains a couple hours away from us. That's about it. Where I'm at, super flat. But there are a couple spots, not very many, but there's one or two kind of twisty roads around here. I'll take it there and hit a couple corners. Because right now, I can tell you, if you guys throw this cam in your car, you guys get a similar setup to me. Coming out of a corner, man, like, you know, you're into it, you're staying in the same gear, you're going about $2,000, 2,500 around the apex of that turn, and then you're coming out of it and you hammer it. Now that's fun. That's where I can see this cam just being an absolute blast, guys. Alright, this is one of the only curvy roads I can tell you that I know around Edmonton. You absolutely have to take it easy around the corners, I can tell you that much. Little slippery out. That mid-range, like, I would make see, taking this car on a road course would be super fun. Get around that corner and then just hit it right in its sweet spot in that mid-range. Man, it pulls so hard. Oh. Guys, that kick in the pants and the power band. Violent. It's the only way you can describe it. It's violent. So anyways, guys, just kind of wanted to do an end of the year video just to have you guys along with me for one last little cruise, kind of a recap on what we did with the car this year. Cool. Get some drag radials sideways, love it. And I just want to say, guys, thanks for subscribing, commenting, watching the channel. To be honest, I try to respond to pretty much every comment. You know, our subscriber count's getting up there. We're up over 900 now, which is really cool. To be honest, when I started the channel, I wasn't really going for, you know, really clickbaity, trying to get, you know, a ton of subscribers and all this. I just kind of wanted to work on my car and kind of document the journey and just talk to a bunch of people that, you know, are Mopar guys that have the same cars, that are passionate about these cars, because I'm so passionate about the Challengers. To be honest, when they first came out, well, I bought my car the first year the RT was available because Dodge knocked it out of the park so well with these cars. They just absolutely nailed it off the launch, and then they improved it so much when they brought in the 6.4s and then started the Hellcats and stuff. I'm just super passionate about these cars, and it's just fun to have a platform to modify your car and just chat with a bunch of Mopar guys about modifications and what they're doing with their car, and little tricks and tips and track days and stuff like that. It's even though you're in a spot that maybe you don't have necessarily that kind of community in your city, it's really cool to have it online. So I just want to say thanks, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by and leaving comments and chatting with me and watching the videos, guys. I really appreciate it, and it's been fun chatting with everybody. Here's to improving our cars over this winter break, so when they come out in the spring, then we're really tearing up some drag strips. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one here.